We're told in the Gospels that Jesus had multitudes of people following him wherever he went. Thousands of believers. We're also told on the day of Pentecost that another 3,000 souls were baptized and added to the rolls of the church. And later in the same chapter, Acts chapter 2, verse 47, we're told the Lord added to the church daily such as should be saved. We're told in later chapters that the apostles taught daily at the temple, that people from the surrounding towns and villages brought people that were ill, people with infirmities, for the apostles to heal them. Daily, the church is growing by leaps and bounds. The Apostle Paul, who at one time persecuted the church, is saved. He is converted, and he has now been traveling in Asia and Greece. More and more people are added to the church every day. But it appears that no one, except the Christians, knew about this. We've got to remember that originally the church consisted primarily of Jews. And they even believed, there was a huge controversy, they believed that you had to become a Jew first before you could become a Christian. And finally that was resolved at a church council about the year 50. Well, I'd like to read to you a small portion from the Life of Josephus. Josephus was born during the reign of Caligula in the year 37. So he was right in the mix of things when this Jewish sect, Christianity, was growing by leaps and bounds. He claims that he was very proficient in his learning, that he had a great memory. And just as Jesus, we're told, talked with the doctors of the law when he was only 12, well, Josephus claims that this happened when he was 14 to him too. So I guess it was not all that unusual for Jesus to be discussing the law at an early age with the leaders in Jerusalem. Josephus, moreover, when I was a child and about the age of 14 years, I was commended by all for the love I had of learning, on which account the high priests and the principal men of the city came then frequently to me together in order to know my opinion about the accurate understanding of points of the law. When I was 16 years old, so this would put us in the year 53, just 1 year before the Apostle Paul was arrested and demanded that his case be heard by Nero. When I was about 16 years of age, I had a mind to make trim of the several sects that were among us. These sects are three. The first is that of the Pharisees, the second that of the Sadducees, and the third the Essenes, as we have frequently told you. For I thought that by this means I might choose the best. if I were once acquainted with them all, and so I contented myself with hard fare, and underwent great difficulties, and went through them all. Nor did I content myself with these trials only, but I was informed that there was one whose name was Banus, who lived in the desert, and used no other clothing than that grew on trees, and had no other food than that grew of its own accord, and bathed himself in cold water frequently, both by day and by night, in order to preserve his chastity. I imitated him in these things, and continued with him 3 years. So when I had accomplished my desires, I returned back to the city, now being 19 years old, and began to conduct myself according to the rules of the sect of the Pharisees. So I ask you, here's Josephus right in the midst of things. He writes about the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Essenes, the 3 sects of Judaism, the 3 sects that existed in Jerusalem. Right there. Where are the Christians? We are told in Antiquities, when he's speaking about the 3 sects again, and he does mention a 4th sect, a 4th philosophy that began about the year 6, the year that Luke says that Jesus was born, and that was the Zealots. And he attributes the downfall of the Jewish nation to the Zealots. That was the 4th philosophy. He points out that the Essenes numbered about 3,000 in his day. So these were the 3 major sects, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Essenes. Now we're told by the book of Acts that 3,000 people were added in just one day. How is that possible if he considered the Essenes, numbering 4,000, to be a major sect of the Jews, and yet he never heard of the Christians? Thanks for listening.